Hey guys, Joey the Recovery Guy back again with another video. Today I'm going to answer one of the most profound and interesting questions of all time. Why do crack guys do crack? Why do meth guys do meth? Why do heroin peoples do heroin? Why are there just boozers? Why do different drug addicts and alcoholics choose different drugs of choices? I get asked this question almost every day, and for a really long time I had no idea why, until I read this book. It's called Affective Neuroscience by Jaak Panksepp. So in this book, what he does is he breaks down 7 really fundamental emotional generation systems within the human body. They're kind of common amongst all mammals, but we're just going to stick with humans for this video. So there's something called the seeking system, and it relates to your ability to go out into the world and generate new potentials for survival. So it's obviously a system that is deeply based in our rich evolutionary history, as all the emotional systems are. And the seeking system is what causes you to go out and venture forth outside of your campfire, if you will, outside of your house, go socially interact with people, go interact with your environment, go write resumes, get new jobs, that kind of thing. If that system is not online to its fullest potential, like let's just say it's operating at 50% capacity, what's going to happen is you're going to become more lazy, you're going to procrastinate, you're going to be kind of scared to go out and do things, and that system is no longer going to be operative. Now, any of these motivational systems, if they're off, then you're going to be off. Overactivity of these symptoms usually end up with psychiatric disorders, and underactivity, these symptoms are going to end up with more personality disorders. But if your seeking system is underactive, you're going to experience probably a little bit of depression, but what's going to happen is you're going to be a stimulant guy. So if your seeking system is repressed, you're going to turn it back on with stimulants. You guys know the classic archetypal situation where the meth guy is taking apart VCRs and cleaning the entire goddamn house. And you also know the crack guy just wandering the streets, and the cocaine people just wandering around, going to different parties all night, every night. Their seeking system isn't operating to its fullest potential. It's severely compromised. So they're going to be using stimulants to turn back on that seeking system. Now, there is also a rage system, a fear system, a lust system, a grief panic system, and a play system, as well as the seeking system. According to affective neuroscience, if you're a booze guy, it's going to be all these systems are out of balance a little bit. It's not one out of balance a lot, it's a lot of them a little bit. So if your drug of choice is liquor, then chances are all around your motivational systems are going to be out of whack. The play circuit is probably not going to be on to its fullest, so you're not going to be engaging socially as much as you would like to. Alcohol will help with that. Your seeking system is probably not on. You're probably going to be a bit more reclusive, spend a lot of your time at home, and the alcohol helps you go out and socialize as well, very complementary to the play circuit. The rage circuit, it's not the prettiest circuit, and it's almost it helps in acquisition of resources historically, or it prevents others from stealing your resources, is what the rage system is more about. Getting resources and preventing them from being stolen. Now, if you're, again, booze tends to make people angry, tends to make people more aggressive if they're orientated that way. If your rage system is not on, or it's offline, or it's not being utilized, what's going to happen is that it's going to create an imbalance there. And when your inhibitions go down as a result of alcohol consumption, then that will allow the rage circuit that should be operative all the time to some extent to express itself. Now, I'm not saying that a healthy person is one that goes around yelling at people and gets mad at everyone for no reason all the time, but a healthy person will express their anger. They don't, if you don't, it's called bottling it up, and we all know that's not good. One day, if you don't hit the pressure relief valve, it's going to explode. Now, and then that brings me to this last system that I want to focus on, is the grief panic system. Now, this system is fundamental to, let's just say, depression, and according to affective neuroscience, is the root cause of depression. Not to say that there isn't a lot of different phenomena involved in depression. It's extremely complex, but apparently, as far as this field of scientific inquiry goes, it's a field of neuroscience. The grief panic system is the basis of depression. The grief/panic system is the system that motivates you through negative emotion to acquire your primary caregiver. Acquire your primary caregiver's attention, to let them know how much you need them and how much you miss them. So human babies are extremely fragile. They can scream and they can cry. So if they have a hurt foot, if they're hungry, if they're thirsty, if they're tired, lonely, if they have a disease, if they have internal bleeding, if anything's wrong, they're teething, like any possible thing that could be wrong with the baby, all they can do is cry about it. So the cries are to alert the primary caregiver, and the primary caregiver hopefully will solve the problem. Now, if the primary caregiver doesn't come back, or you don't receive that care that you think you need, what's going to happen is that grief is going to turn to panic. Now, when this grief panic system is on for too long, it will actually start repressing the seeking system. So you will not only be in grief or almost even mourning the loss of a loved one, you will also not go out into the world and generate new possibilities because you're in red alert mode. Now, as we grow up, I can do more than just cry. You know, I can have a job, I can go out and meet people. Like, I'm a full-blown adult now, I'm capable of doing things. But if that grief panic system has been on for too long, really what it leads to in its mature form is almost a lack of meaningful social engagement. So if you are a person that turns to opiates, you will use opiates fundamentally because you are lonely. I'm an opiate guy myself. When I first heard this, I don't know about you guys, but I could sense immediately the truth in that. I didn't really feel connected to people, and I didn't have a lot of really good friends, and the only friends that I really did have were ones that also used opiates as well. So if your grief panic system's on, again, you will probably use opiates because of lack of meaningful social engagement. It's almost like you're always mourning the loss of a loved one. If you're an opiate guy, you might have symptoms of like forever mourning the one that got away. You'll be resentful at people because you don't think they pay enough attention to you. You'll be extremely insecure. You'll be very, very apprehensive about going and putting yourself out there socially, and you'll more likely be an isolator. When you do opiates, however, that warm blanket settles in. It makes it okay. It makes being alone okay for a time. Now, another quick thing about this grief panic system, like I said before, it does shut off the seeking system. So a lot of times, if you're let's just leave the addiction question aside. Let's just say you're suffering from depression or anxiety or just a disorder of that nature. What you'll do is the doctor, before giving you meds, he would like to know, do you have a job? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a hobby? Do you exercise? How do you eat? How do you drink? How do you sleep? And they'll want to get all that stuff to normal, and while simultaneously dealing with any traumas that you may or may not have before medication is necessary. But here's a situation, if all that stuff is good and you have all those things, the checklist complete, and you still feel depressed, they will most likely give you medication, and rightfully so. But if you are so depressed that you won't even go out and do those things, they will give you an antidepressant. And this antidepressant will turn your seeking system on. So your grief panic system's on, your seeking system's off. They will give you medications, turn your seeking system on, and give you some encouragement, psychological encouragement. And hopefully that will enable you to actually go out into the world and generate new possibilities, new avenues of fulfillment, and new social engagement. And that will gradually repress the seeking circuit, or repress the grief panic circuit, so that you're now balanced and normal. All right, that's what we got for today, guys. This is why we do the drugs that we do. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned. There's plenty more coming.